Be'ezras Hashem Nase v'Natzliach, a shir Maseches Shabbos Kuf Lamed Gimel Amud Aleph. The topic is Mila on Shabbos, Mila on Yom Tov. Are you allowed to have Beris Milah done on Shabbos or Yom Tov? Shir's Le'ila Nishmas Mefader Menachem Ben Akiva, Atzlochas Kol Klal Yisrael, for the safe return of all the hostages. Be'ezras Hashem B'lev B'nefesh B'guf U'Baruach. Omar Mal, two dots. The two dots. We're about the 10th line. 10th wide line. Yeah, we're restarting what we did yesterday. Omar Mal. Yom Tov ein adoicho ela bizmanu bilvad, which means if there's a bris milah on Yom Tov, do you perform bris milah on Yom Tov? Yes or no? The question is, the answer is depends. If the milah is a milah bizmana, 8th day milah, the way it's supposed to be, be'itayu bizmano, as we always bless the young parents, if it's be'itayu bizmano, then it pushes away the Yom Tov. You do it on Yom Tov, as we learned from Shabbos. Shabbos and Yom Tov are the same. If Milah can break Shabbos, surely Milah can break Yom Tov. Yom Tov is always less than Shabbos. But what happens if the Yom Tov Yom Tov ain't a doichel bizmana? If the Milah is not bizmana, if the Milah was supposed to be in the 8th day but was postponed, lo bizmana means it's postponed, then it does not break the Yom Tov. It doesn't override Yom Tov. And the question is, Mina Hanimili. The Gemara asks, how do you know that? Which means, what do you mean, how do you know? Mele Shabbos, we know Shabbos is more important than Yom Tov. So Shabbos, we know that if it's not Bizmana, you don't have the Posuk that tells me that Beyoim, because it's any or not the Yom Shmini, it doesn't push, Emila not Bizmana is not strong enough to break Shabbos. But maybe Emila Shaloi Bizmana is strong enough to break Yom Tov. And as we're going to see later, in the Havamina, the Gemara thinks Yom Tov is just a mitzvahs lo ta'aseh. Bingo. Mila is an aseh. Yom Tov lo ta'aseh. Aseh doche lo ta'aseh. So maybe really the Mila shaloi bizmana even, still a mitzvah aseh. So let it break the lo ta'aseh of Yom Tov. Yeah, kol malach lo yoseh boy. So how do you know it's not that case? Omar Chizkiah answers the Gemara. Says Chizkiah, answer number one. What's the difference, you know? Chizkiah was the man himself. Tana de Chizkiah, this is the yeshiva of Chizkiah. They all learned it together. Omar Kra, Chizkiah and his yeshiva are saying the same thing. It says about Korban Pesach, Lo tutiru mimenu ad boiker. If a person did not eat the Korban Pesach, did not finish eating the entire Korban Pesach, throughout the night of Leil HaSeder, well, Midorabanan it has to be till Chatzos, Midoraisa till the morning, but you didn't. So now you have leftover. What do you do with the leftovers? You burn it. When do you burn it? It says, Anoisam imenu ad boiker, ba'esh tisoifu. She'en Talmud lomer ad boiker. The words ad boiker mentioned twice in the Pasuk. Whatever's left till the morning you burn it. Why does the Torah have to repeat and say the words till the morning twice? You wait till the morning, then you burn it. I mean, it was left over. Unfortunately, you shouldn't really leave over noisar, but if you did, you have to burn it. Why do you have to say twice ad boiker? Ba'kos of litan, the kosov comes to tell me, to give me boiker sheni l'safosoi, boiker and another boiker. What does that mean? It means that if you have your leftover Korban Pesach and it is Yom Tov morning, the first day Yom Tov morning, first day Pesach Yom Tov in the morning is when you have it left over. Unfortunately, sadly, do you burn it right now? No, you don't burn it now. You wait till the second day of Yom Tov, which is not Yom Tov, it's not Chutz La'aretz over here. You wait until the second day of Pesach, which is Chol HaMoed, and then you burn it. So what do you see from there? You see that when you have a Chol kind of obligation, when you have an obligation or a korban, for example, a korban that belongs to a weekday, to a regular day, it does not push away Yom Tov. Because Pesach, ironically, is a weekday korban. When do you throw the blood of the Pesach on the Mizbeach? On a Chol day, on Erev Pesach. So don't throw old items, old obligations you have from the Chol, which is Pesach, Erev Pesach, those you don't burn on Yom Tov. Same thing over here. When you have a Beris Milah, that was originally supposed to be on the 8th day, which was before Yom Tov. The baby was yellow, the baby was shmello, the mother was this, whatever happened, yeah, they postponed the bris. Yeah, the wedding till Sunday when people are off work. Whatever they postponed the bris, what happens next? Well, that's not the time to throw it on Yom Tov, right? It's a whole dika kind of action. Don't place it on Yom Tov. If you already waited that long, for whichever reason, you have to wait 1 day longer, 1 day more, and don't do it on Yom Tov. Abai gives us a second other source, a different source from Chizkiah. Omar Abaye, Omar Kro, it says in the Pasuk, Oilos Shabbos b'Shabbatoi. As we all know, Olos are brought on Shabbos. Which Olos exactly? Only the Olos of Shabbos. The Tmidin, Musafin, or Rosh Chodesh if it happens to be, however, or whichever Yom Tov which falls on Shabbos, as opposed to excluding Veloy oilas choil b'Shabbos, veloy oilas chol b'Yom Tov, which means similar to the previous drosha. Let's say you have a korban that was brought on erev Shabbos, on erev Yom Tov, right? And the blood was sprinkled on the mizbeach, which means it was a chol. That's what determines the date. Erev Shabbos, Erev Yom Tov was the actual bringing of the korban. Now you have a lot of leftover. You have a lot of what? Flesh, a lot of meat to bring and burn on the mizbeach. Let's say it was Friday. You bring Friday korbanos on Leil Shabbos, Friday night. You don't. Erev Yom Tov and Yom Tov. You don't. Same idea. Don't push your old pre-Yom Tov, pre-Shabbos obligations. Don't mechalel Shabbos and Yom Tov for them. You only mechalel Shabbos and Yom Tov for the sake of Shabbos and Yom Tov. And it's exactly the same thing over here. If the 8th day fell on Yom Tov, good. The winner is Mila. Mila pushes Yom Tov. But if it's before Yom Tov, the Mila was supposed to be before, you don't perform that on Yom Tov. Comes Rove was a third source. Rove Omar, says Rove. Omar Kro, it says in the Pasuk, Hu levado yase lochem. It says, we saw it in Parshas Bo 2 weeks ago, Hu levadoi, only what's necessary for Yom Tov, meaning oichel nefesh, shall be done for you on Yom Tov. You're allowed to do oichel nefesh, mechalal, mechalal Yom Tov. You're allowed to do on Yom Tov, melachos oichel nefesh. As opposed to what? What's hu levado? It's two extra words. Hu levado. Only it. Why these two extra words? Hu levado yasalochem. Hu veloy mechshirin. Levado velo milo shelo bizmana de asya mikal v'choimer. Which means, hu veloy mechshirin. That's first. On Yom Tov, you are not allowed to make the preparations for the meal on Yom Tov if they break Yom Tov, meaning not like Reb Lezer. Yeah? Don't do the machshir on Shabbos and Yom Tov. Don't do the preps, only the thing itself. And also, Mila Shelo Bizmana, don't perform Mila Shelo Bizmana, although one would have said Mila Shelo Bizmana is stronger than Yom Tov because of a Kal V'chomer, which we're going to remind ourselves soon of. Comes the Pasuk and says, don't do the Mila Shelo Bizmana, right, on the expense of Yom Tov. What does it mean, Dasi Mikal V'chomer? Remember the pyramid? It's there again. Look, I'm showing it now online. If you have the paper, it's good. We said Mila pushes away Tsaras, right? Tsaras pushes away Avoida, and Avoida pushes away Shabbos or Yom Tov. Yeah? Although we shed a lot of doubts in that structure, but we didn't completely reject it. Again, tsaras pushes away avoido. If a person has tsaras, we don't cut the tsaras to let him work in Beis Hamikdash. Avoida breaks Shabbos and Yom Tov all the time. On Yom Tov and Shabbos, you bring korbanos, communal korbanos, right, left, and center. And Mila is above tsaras, so let Mila be above Shabbos and Yom Tov. No, so maybe you should. Very nice. Comes the pasuk and tells you, no, hu levado yaselochem is opposed to Mila Shelo Bizmana, which shall not be done on Yom Tov. Now comes the fourth source, Ravashi Omar. Ravashi breaks the whole basic premise we had. Ravashi says, Shabbosoin asehu, v'havel Yom Tov aseh v'lo ta'aseh, ve'ein aseh dochet lo ta'aseh ve'aseh, which means, we originally thought that Yom Tov is just the mitzvah loy ta'aseh, loy yaseh boy melocho. Yeah, I don't remember the words exactly. Don't do melocho. But then there's another pasuk, Shabbosoin. It says in the pasuk here, you should have a state of Shabbosoin. Here, lochem Shabbosoin. You should have a day of rest. Resting is an active thing. It's a big ashkafic thing. You don't stop working. You should be involved in resting. So there's a mitzvah to say to yes, rest on Yom Tov. So So yeah, Yom Tov now has two tools. It's an assay and lot assay. Well, Bris Milah is just an assay. 2 against 1, boom. Yeah? Assay does not break lot assay and assay. But therefore, the Yom Tov, without any special psukim, according to Rav Ashi, you don't need special psukim. Just the mechanism, the way it works is that Yom Tov versus Milah is just an assay. Yom Tov is lot assay and assay. By the way, we had the same idea in Daf Chafei. Daf Chafei, we also said the same thing. The Yom Tov is assay and lot assay. And here too, so therefore it does not break so therefore Milah shall not be performed on Yom Tov. Wait a second, correct Rashi. What about Milah Bismana? If it's so clear to you that Milah is weaker than Yom Tov, because Yom Tov is 2 against 1, why is it that on the right time, Milah on the 8th day does push away Yom Tov? Reminds us Rashi, because it's like Shabbos. Yom Tov is not better than Shabbos. When it's Bizman, it says Bayoy Mashmini. The words Bayoy Mashmini comes to tell you that if it's on the 8th day, Bayoy Mashmini, it pushes away Shabbos against all logic. Because that's what the Torah decided, and that's what the Torah is telling me. If Bayoy Mashmini pushes Shabbos, clearly it pushes Yom Tov. Yom Tov is always less than Shabbos. That's it. So Mimela, let's summarize. Very easy. We have 4 different reasons to believe that Milah Shaloi Bizmana is weaker than Yom Tov. Milah Bizmana is stronger than Yom Tov. Same thing with Shabbos, by the way. At the end of the day, Shabbos and Yom Tov are the same. No reason to get confused. Shabbos and Yom Tov are the same. Milah Bizmana is stronger than everybody. Milah Shaloi Bizmana is pushed away on Shabbos and Yom Tov. Yes?
The question is follows is, why do we need 4 different things? I thought like one pasuk could go to prove one thing and just that one.
I hear. Okay, these are two. That's a good question. These are different Amaroim. Each Amar got a different drosha from his Rabbosav. I think that it's that simple. Each one got a different drosha. Do they find fault in the other one's drosha? Maybe. Sometimes the Meforshim say one way, sometimes the other. But you have like different sources. It's not like one Amar brought you 4 sources. It's 4 different Amaroim. Each one gave you a different source. Each one has a different Messiah from Rebbe's, whatever. But I think that's the answer. Guys, we're excited. We're about to finish the Mishnah, the Gemara on the first Mishnah in the Perek. Rabbi Akiva was the strong opponent of Rabbi Eliezer, at least in this matter. And what did he say? He said in the Mishnah that although Milah pushes away Shabbos, Machshir Milah don't. If you have machshir milah, something that prepares the milah to create the knife, to move it from yochid to rabim, or vice versa, to do any chilul Shabbos, to prepare for the act of milah, that is not justified and should not be done on Shabbos or Yom Tov, says Rabbi Akiva. Amar Yehuda Amarav. Okay, Amar Yehuda Amarav. What does it say? Halacha. Rabbi Akiva, and that's halacha. Rabbi Yehuda on behalf of Rav says halacha is Rabbi Akiva, that when it comes to the preps of the Milah, they don't push away Shabbos. In other words, you do the Milah on Shabbos, but don't prepare on Shabbos. You should have prepared before. Okay. Etnan Nami, a similar machloikes with a similar psak is written regarding Pesach. Etnan Nami gabe Pesach, we are like a few lines before the Mishnah in the bottom of the page, about 7 or 8 lines before the Mishnah in the bottom of the page. Yeah, at the beginning of the 7th parak of, or 6th or 7th parak, I think 7th parak of Pesachim, the first Mishnah there talks about a similar situation. And what does it say over there? Just a little bit of a prep. Pesach itself, the shechting and the making of Pesach, Korban Pesach, does push away Shabbos. Yeah? We'll learn it from Zera Shava, from Tamid, from Musaf, anything, from the Korbanot of Shabbos, that Pesach pushes away Shabbos. Yeah? If Shabbos is Erev Pesach, you have to bring the Korban, you bring the Korban. There are many limitations, we bring the Korban. And the same Mechlokas exactly applies over there. While Tanakama, supported by Rabbi Akiva, says you only do the basic needs of the korban, the shchita, the zrika, those you do on Shabbos, but the preparation for the korban, that you don't do on Shabbos. Yeah, look Mila. While Rabbi Lezer there said, just like it says over here, says Rabbi Lezer, no, you're allowed to prepare for example, you're allowed to bring the actual sheep. You didn't bring it before Shabbos. Oh, where's the sheep, darling? Where is it? Ah, I forgot the sheep at home. You're allowed to bring the sheep through Rosh Hashanah. Isadoraisa. Yes, you can. No problem. And what does it say over there? Ki agavna klal omar Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva says a rule over there. Kol melocha she'efshar la lasois erev Shabbos. Any melocha you could do from erev Shabbos. Ein adoichois Shabbos. Does not push away Shabbos, which means shchita she'i efshar la lasois erev Shabbos doichois Shabbos. Yeah, shchita of the korban you can't do a day before. The shchita has to be done when? 14th of Nisan, Yudalad Nisan. Can't do it in Yud Gimel Nisan, that's a joke. So of course it pushes away Shabbos. But she'en ken bringing the korban from Reshus Harabim to Reshus HaYochid or vice versa, that could have been done before, that you don't do on Shabbos. What shall you do? Good question. Well, the Maisa, you're not Mekayim the Pesach, because preparation for Pesach don't justify the means, says Rabbi Akiva. V'omar v'yud omarav. Rav Yehuda Amarav says over there, Alochak Rabbi Akiva. Rav Yehuda Amarav said the same exact thing. Rav Yehuda Amarav is very consistent. The Machlokes is almost identical. And in both cases, Rav Yehuda B'Shem Rav says, Alochak like Rabbi Akiva. Frag the Gemara, or comments the Gemara, V'tzricha. Rabbi Yehuda Amarav had to tell me in both cases that Halacha is like Rabbi Akiva. We wouldn't have automatically derived from one to the other. Yeah? V'tzricha. You need to tell me both in Pesach and in Milah that Halacha is like Rabbi Akiva, that the Machshirim do not reject Shabbos. How do you know? Why is that? Diyashmin and Gabi Milah, had you told me that regarding Milah, we're being strict and don't allow the Machshira Milah to push away Shabbos, I would say, Hosam hu the Machshirin, Ef shel hasos me'esmoil, lo dochu Shabbos. You know why? Machshirin, it could have been done before. Don't push away Shabbos when it comes to Milah. The leka chorus, because if there's no Milah, there's no chorus involved. Did you hear that? Oh, the baby has no bris Milah, there's no chorus. Oops, what does that mean? Yeah, of course. What happens if the baby doesn't have his bris milah done on the 8th day, which falls on Shabbos? What would be the case? He's not getting chorus. He will only get chorus if 13 years pass, and he becomes, a big boy, and he doesn't care of himself, and he dies. Then he gets chorus. It's a very, very, very far cry. Yeah, usually the father would take care of business. If it's not done on the 8th day, do it later. Makes sense. Rabbi Akiva would be. Exactly, 2 days later. Makes a lot of sense. Rabbi Akiva would say, and we support Rabbi Akiva La'alocha. Hey, Shvaya, was Brent? Well, what's the big rush over here? Yeah, why are you breaking Shabbos for Machshirin? You're not going to do the Milah today? Do it tomorrow. You forgot the knife at home? Yushla Mazel, no problem. Do it tomorrow. There's no chorus involved. Aval Pesach Dika Chorus. Ooh. By Pesach, if you push away the Pesach, because you forgot to bring the Shepsele from home or any other preparation, now what happens to people who did not bring Pesach, Korban Pesach, on time that involves chorus? I don't know if such a case is a Chiyuv chorus. Maybe it's onus, maybe it's shogig poshe, not shogig. Maybe it's some form of pshia, but conceptually, not to bring Korban Pesach on time involves chorus. If you don't bring Pesach this year for no good reason, you have chorus. Shabbos, maybe really it should push away Shabbos, right? Much more urgent. If there's no Pesach right now brought, I'm in danger of chorus, chas v'shalom. So maybe we don't support Rabbi Akiva. Maybe there we dafka support Rabbi Lezer to do anything you can to make sure the korban is brought, including melachos, chilul Shabbos. So that's why we have to be mashmiya over there by Pesach. That no, even by Pesach we support Rabbi Akiva and we don't justify with all the urgency of chorus. We're not getting so excited. We follow Rabbi Akiva that says Shabbos is stronger than the preparation of Pesach. V'yesh min gal Pesach. Aha. So why don't you only tell me that you follow Rabbi Akiva la'alocha regarding Pesach? And what do we say about Pesach? That preparation for the Korban Pesach does not push away the Pesach, and I would know that Kol Shekain regarding Mila, right? Because Pesach is more urgent. Says the Gemara, no, no, no. There's another advantage of Mila. Mishum de lo nichritu alei yud gimel brisois. Same thing as we said in the previous daf. Pesach is very, very important. You don't have 13 times in the Torah, 13 times, the Torah tells me regarding Mila, bris, 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 yeah? It's so important, such a covenant between us and Hashem, that's not by Pesach. So maybe Pesach we say, Nish geferlach, push it away. Aval Mila, the nichas al yud gimel brisois. Mila is so choshuv. We have 13 brisois. They were basically created between us and Hashem. Maybe this is something that can't be pushed away. Forget about chorus. We want to do this very important mitzvah. Emalit Shabbos. Maybe we support Rabbi Lezer, not Rabbi Akiva, and maybe you should, yes, be Doicha Shabbos, even the preparation. Sricha, very good. So basically, we need twice, both. In Pesach and Mila, we support Rabbi Akiva, and we say, says Rabbi Marad, that if you forgot to bring the knife, you forgot to bring the shepsel, for whatever it is, if just preparation for the korban or for the Mila, doesn't push it away. You don't break Shabbos for Pesach or Mila except for the actual act itself. Both cases will pass on Rabbi Akiva because both mitzvahs have their own importance. And yet Shabbos overrides them. The preparations. Weiter. Oh, Baruch Hashem, we got to the second Mishnah in the Perek. Says the Mishnah. Oisin kol tzor kemila b'Shabbos. Yeah? Which means all the needs of the act of Mila can be and should be done on Shabbos, providing that obviously it's the 8th day. And we're going to details. So first of all, we said all the needs of Mila, whatever that is, and then we're adding Mohalin. The actual Mila is the cutting. When you cut, that's an Easter Doraisa on Shabbos, and yet it pushes away Shabbos. Pushes away Shabbos. You're allowed to do it on Shabbos. Upoirin. Poirin is basically when you fold. You take that skin that's left or cut on the corona and you fold it backwards, downwards, yeah, to make sure it doesn't go up. Yeah, so the corona is now exposed, and that's the way it should look like. Corona is corona, not the disease, yeah? I mean the thick part at the end of the aver. Umoitzitzin, the moil has to do metzitza, sucking out the blood, and that is also in Shabbos, yeah, that's disha. You're creating you're causing something to get out of its source. Why do you do that? That starts the blood circulation. Yeah, that kilo makes the blood go, yeah, because that's nitak michibur. The blood gets disconnected from its origin. When you suck it out, then it starts circulating. That's part of the meal. It's important, shouldn't be overlooked. And you're allowed to do that on Shabbos too. The noistin alas pelonis. Now the baby at this happy moment is the chol shesh b'sakana. The baby has been through a very, very holy thing, but very traumatic medically. So now the baby, what are you allowed to do? Is pelonis. Allowed to create and put in his pelonis like a band-aid, kind of, a bandage, with common is a cumin. You know, cumin is some kind of condiment. It's a spice. I guess it's healthy, the cumin, and usually they grind it before Shabbos and they place it on the baby like an antiseptic. Yeah, that's like an antibiotics, the cumin. Im lo shochak me'erev Shabbos. Let's say he forgot to that the baby is chol shesh b'sakona. Let's say the moyel or the doctor or the mother or the father, they forgot to grind the cumin from before Shabbos. They don't have the ready powder that you need for the baby's mila that you put on the mila. They don't have it. So what do? Loyas b'shina v'noisen. Loyas, you basically grind it with your teeth. Hopefully brush your teeth very well before, yeah. You basically chew it, and then you put it in the bandage, yeah, on the baby's body. Why is that so? Says Tosfos in Amud Beis, yeah, we can maybe see it later. Even though it's a Chol Shesh B'Sakona, remember we said in Daf Kuf Chavtes around, even Chol Shesh B'Sakona, if it's not very urgent, yeah, the baby's not going to die if you wait a few more seconds by grinding with the teeth, but chewing instead of grinding, right? Okay? and kol med'ef shal l'shanus meshanim. Even b'chodesh shesh b'sakona, it's not agreed upon everyone la'alocha, by the way. Not everyone agrees to that. The Ramah says that not the Mechaber. But if you can do something b'shinui, and instead of grinding mamish isur d'oraisa, you do it in a shinu, which makes it an isur d'rabanan, that is preferable. Of course, if it means taking more time, then you don't. That's a different story. But if it doesn't make difference, actually, doesn't take longer to chew with your mouth. Doesn't take longer than this. So as much as you can change, you change. So to make it shinu, which you try and make it rabbanon, not d'oraisa. But of course, im hazman bol, you don't do that. People should know that we shouldn't chas v'sholem be in pikuach nefesh. But I'm saying if it's a time sensitive situation, then you don't start doing shinuim. Yeah, somebody's chas v'sholem about to die chlila. You have to dial it solely. Don't start looking for a pencil to dial like that. You dial right away. Yeah, don't start with the elbow. No, you don't, because it's urgent. If it's not urgent, then you do the shinu. There are more paskins that way. Now, imloy toraf yain shemen. Another thing they would put on the baby's milah is a mixture, a trifa, a mixture. They would whisk together wine and oil, and then they drip it on the milah, wine and oil together. Imloy toraf yain shemen me'erev Shabbos. Again, people forgot there was no yain shemen. They were whisked together like good cream. You forgot doing that from erev Shabbos. You know, which means this is Chodesh Shesh B'Sakona, so we do refuah. You don't do refuah on Shabbos, but these guys are Chodesh Shesh B'Sakona. Of course you do refuah. Now, meaning, if you do not whisk them, don't whisk them together on Shabbos. Why? There's an isser on whisking on trif of, let's say, eggs, even though it's not really an isser, it's not called lisha. It's still also because it looks, usually when you whisk something, it's in order to add it to some kind of cooking or baking, like in cakes, right? And that's what's also the Rabbanon, because Tarifa looks as if you're about to put it into some kind of bishul. So it's also on Shabbos. On Shabbos, you can't whisk eggs, let's say. So if you don't have the wine and oil mixed together, you put each one separately. Still good enough, works well enough. Yeah, the baby will not be in danger, even if you put one drop of oil, then one drop of wine separately. Continues the Mishnah, more details about the Milah. The en oisin lechaluk lechatchila, which means one thing you do to the baby, that is special bandage on top of the little one. I think it's like that today. If I remember, the last bris said was 9 years ago. Yeah. So let's say you have the small bandage on the place of Milah, but then you have a bigger bandage to like cover the entire aver, like a chaluk, yeah, like a robe, meaning like some kind of cover from all sides, and you tighten it there to make sure that the Milah doesn't jump back. Yeah, that the piece remains parua, that the prayer remains revealed and it shouldn't go back, so you like tighten it. So that you're not allowed to do on Shabbos. You're building, you're sewing, building a whole thing here. But what you're allowed to do is basically cover a shmata, take a very clean cloth, a clean shmata, cover it, and again, since it's not a matzav of sakona gemura, it's not going to hurt the baby. You just tighten some smartut over there. That's good enough. Don't create a chaluk. Im lo yiskin me'erev Shabbos. Let's say you forgot even that. Even the smartut you did not prepare before Shabbos. You don't have a smartut. Hey, smartut, anybody? What should you do? You have to bring now that shmata, that cloth from where? Somewhere else. You're allowed to do it, but again, try and do it b'shinui. It won't take you longer or harder to, instead of taking the smartut in your hand, which would be an Isser, maybe the Oraisa, if it's Rosh Rabim, just basically, just, coil it around your finger, like that, which is Shinui. Instead of taking the bandage, take the bandage and wrap it around your finger and walk around like that, Bishinui, and then you're allowed to do that even from different chotzer. What's a different chotzer? Either a different chotzer which doesn't have eruv chatzeros, which is the Rabbanon. Rabbi Kiva Eger, and the Mishnah says even the Oraisa. You can move from Shus Rabim to Shus Yochid with that bandage because it's the Rabbanon. Anyways, yeah, you made it the Rabbanon by coiling it, and that's good enough. Let's see the beautiful, amazing Gemara over here. Zog the Gemara. Michdi, the Gemara asks the question. Michdi ktani kulhu. The Mishnah already tells me What's kulu? All of them. The Mishnah tells me all different acts and stages in the process of Milah. What is it? Moyalin, Poirin, Moitzitzin. It's all written there. If so, called Tzor Kemila La Mai. The words called Tzor Kemila, which open the Mishnah, what are they coming to add, right? What's it coming? You do everything to Milah, then Poirin, Moyalin, what are you coming to add? What's the new item here? What's that everything? Like many times in advertisements, they say we sell, socks, shoes, tomatoes, and more, right? What and more? What's the more? What is that more that's there? What's the other item which is hidden from the naked eye? Answers the Gemara, La tuyeha. It's coming to include the following. The Ton Rabbanan, it says in the Braisa. And this, we're coming to a whole new business over here. Hamal, the person who does Beris Milah, performs the Milah. Kozmachu Eisik b'Milah, as long as he is dealing with the Milah, is involved with the Milah, which means as long as his hands are still on the baby's Milah, Choizel, he goes back and fixes things that he didn't do properly. Ben al-tzitzin ma'akvinis amila, ben al-tzitzin she'en ma'akvinis amila. I think this deserves a little bit of akdama over here, which means the mohel does the job. What's the job? He takes the entire foreskin, he cuts one part, that goes, to the whatever, the ground, and then he does priya, right? What happens if he forgot or whatever, didn't manage, and there's still one piece of skin, like one strip of skin that he did not do. He did not cut. He didn't cut it. He cut most of the milah. There's one spitzkele, one cuticle, as they call it, that's still there. So now, depends. If it covers the majority of the atara, of the corona, then it's me'akev. Me'akev means it's as if the baby is an orel. The baby didn't have bris milah. If one strip of skin is still there covering most of the atara, lengthwise, height-wise, if there's more than 50%, the majority is covered, lost case. Not lost case, you now should do it, but the baby, it's as if the baby had no milah. And therefore what? It is me'akvin. It's mandatory. Me'akvin means you can't go on without it. You have to do that extra bit, otherwise it's as if the baby has no milah. Tzitzin, if you did not take out the entire orla, and one piece of skin, one tzitz, like the tzitz of the coin, one strip stays there still, and it covers most of the atara, even one area, but lengthwise most of it is covered, then it's me'akev. It's as if the baby has no milah, and you have to do what? Do it again. Cut that piece. A guy told me yesterday, I was in opinion of Ben yesterday, he told me he did bris milah the morning, and then he had to do 4 more things. Yeah, you had to do more, 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess there were lots of tzitzin and makvin. What's it in she'en and makvin? I won't call that mud. Pieces of skin, like a piece of skin. Now, what's it in she'en makvin? En makvin means the same, but they don't cover the majority, but the minority. Those are not me'akiv, meaning, even if the baby grows up and he has a shtickle, piece of skin that was left over, they forgot to remove it, but it doesn't cover the majority of the length of that Torah, then it's much better not to have it, and yes, to fix it. It's not me'akev. It's not mandatory. It's not like you can't go on without it, okay? So that's me'akvin versus en me'akvin. What? Not hair. It's a piece of skin. Yeah? So let's read again. Tonobono. Hamal. What? Machidush. Machidush. You'll see very well Machidush. We're going to see a big chidush. Hamal. Kozmat sho'esik b'mila, my dear neighbor. Choizer ben el tzitzin ma'akvin es mila, ben el tzitzin she'en ma'akvin es mila on Saturday. You get that? In other words, he's doing bris milah on Shabbos, and as long as his hands are still on the milah, he is allowed to go back. He's still holding the milah, and now he can go back and do what? And even fix tzitzin she'enan me'akvin, even though it's Shabbos. That's a chiddush. And that, by the way, is exactly what the Mishnah meant when it said kol tzor kemila. Even this, as we'll see later, is just a hider mitzvah, we want to beautify the aver, yeah, the Milah, it's beautiful with Milah, then we say even the tzitzin she'en me'akvin were not mandatory. You are supposed to go back and redo them and recut them and refix them, do the the last touch, give that last touch, even though in Chalal Shabbos, ki'ilu. Why? Because as long as you're involved in Milah, even ein me'akvin still justify doing it, as opposed to what? Piresh. Ooh, let's say he removed his hands from the baby, and now he's oh, I can see this sits in the other one. Then depends. Once you finish the job, you want to go back and do a whole new action. Hey, hold it, man. You want to do a new action of seemingly Chilul Shabbos? Ooh, let's test how important it is. If you realize there's a tzitz which is me'akev, which without that tzitz you can't go on, that's like mamish basic milah. Basic milah you're allowed to do on Shabbos, and you should. But tzitzin she'en me'akvin, meaning if you have a little cuticle which is less than roiv, which means it's better to fix it, but not mandatory. Once you removed your hands, it doesn't justify to start a new pe'ula, a new action on Shabbos to do that. Now let me surprise you and tell you the Rambam. I learned it in Hilchos Chanukah. Chanukah and Milah are connected, surprisingly, because of Hidul Mitzvah. And in Chanukah, it says, according to the Rambam, forget about Chanukah for a minute, the Rambam says in Hilchos Milah that even during the week this is true. The Rambam says this is written about Shabbos, but during the week also, if you forgot tzitzin she'enan me'akvin, don't sweat over it. You don't have to go back at all. Mashenken lefi Rashi, you do. And later we'll explain the machlokes, hopefully on Thursday. Okay? I would stop here simply because this is a good place to stop. Okay? So we see the difference between Makvin and En Makvin, and there's no shear tomorrow. Don't come here and tell me, why didn't I tell you? So I'm telling you now that I do apologize in advance, but I can't be here tomorrow. I will be here Be'ezras Hashem Thursday. Please come Thursday and Motzei Shabbos. Okay? Thursday, Motzei Shabbos, yes. Tomorrow, no. Okay? Sorry. Beseder? Okay, that's Tu B'Shvat. That's a good excuse. Tomorrow you're gonna eat your fruit. So no time for share. Okay, Hatzlacha V'rocha.